For years, Heartland taught us how to live with loss, how to keep going when someone you love is gone forever. But what if that goodbye was never meant to be the end? What if the story we thought was finished was only waiting for the right moment to continue? In Heartland Season 20, Episode 1, the past doesn't stay buried. It walks back into the lives that learned how to survive without it. And nothing, not Amy, not Lindy, not the ranch itself, will ever be the same again. Heartland doesn't open Season 20 with celebration or shock. It opens with stillness. The ranch looks the same on the surface. Familiar land, steady routines, life moving forward as it always has. But underneath that calm is something heavier, something unfinished. The kind of silence that only exists when a family has learned to live around a missing piece. Amy Fleming is strong now. She has to be. She runs the ranch. She raises her daughter. She shows up for her family every single day. From the outside, she looks steady, capable, and grounded. But strength like that doesn't come from peace. It comes from survival. There is a distance in Amy that wasn't there before. Not coldness, but protection. A quiet wall she built so she could keep breathing after losing the love of her life. She doesn't talk about Ty often, not because she forgot him, but because remembering still hurts in ways words can't fix. Lindy grows up surrounded by love, yet touched by absence. She knows her father through stories, through photos, through moments where the adults fall quiet for no clear reason. Ty exists in her life like a shadow, always there but never present. And even though she doesn't fully understand what's missing, she feels it. Jack watches it all with the patience of a man who has lived long enough to know that grief doesn't disappear. It settles. Lou notices it too. In the way Amy pauses, in the way Lindy asks questions, in the way the house feels just a little too quiet at times. Life continues, but something important never truly left. The episode moves slowly on purpose. The camera lingers on empty spaces. A chair that once belonged to someone. A look that lasts a second too long. A pause in conversation where no one says what they're thinking. Heartland isn't rushing toward a twist. It's reminding us of the weight this family has been carrying. Because before joy can return, the story makes us feel the loss again. It reminds us that some love doesn't fade with time. Some grief doesn't heal cleanly, and some stories don't end just because we're told they have. There's a feeling in the air, subtle, quiet, but impossible to ignore, like the ranch itself knows something is coming. And somewhere between routine and memory, between strength and sorrow, the impossible begins to feel possible. To understand why what happens next matters so deeply, you have to remember who Ty Borden was, not just to Amy, but to Heartland itself. Ty didn't arrive at the ranch as someone strong or certain. He came carrying anger, fear, and the feeling that he didn't belong anywhere. Heartland didn't fix him overnight. It didn't change him with big speeches or perfect moments. It changed him slowly, through patience, work, and people who refused to give up on him. Jack gave him guidance without judgment. Amy gave him trust when he hadn't yet learned how to trust himself. And the ranch gave him something he had never truly had before, a place where he mattered. Over time, Ty became dependable, quietly kind, steady in ways that didn't need attention. His love for Amy wasn't loud or dramatic. It was built in small moments. Shared pain, long conversations, and growing together through mistakes. They didn't fall in love easily. They chose each other again and again. That's what made it real. Ty became a veterinarian because healing animals helped him heal himself. Every life he saved, every broken thing he helped mend, reflected the man he was becoming. When he became a husband and later a father, he didn't step into those roles lightly. He carried them with care, responsibility, and deep love. So when Ty was gone, Heartland didn't just lose a character. It lost balance. Amy didn't just lose her partner. She lost the person who saw her completely. Lindy didn't just lose a father. She lost the chance to grow up knowing his voice, his presence, his guidance. Jack lost someone he had watched grow from a troubled boy into a man worthy of pride. Even the ranch itself felt different, quieter, heavier, like something important had been removed. Ty's absence was never clean. It lingered in memories, in unspoken thoughts, in moments that should have felt happy but didn't. Heartland carried his loss forward without erasing it. The story allowed grief to exist. It allowed the family to keep living, even while something inside them remained broken. That's why Ty was never truly gone from the story. He lived on in the spaces he left behind. The moment doesn't arrive with music or loud reactions. It arrives quietly, almost carefully, as if the story itself is afraid to speak too loudly. Ty doesn't rush into the scene. There is no dramatic entrance, No big reveal meant to shock. He is simply there, standing in a space that once belonged to him, yet feels unfamiliar after so much time has passed. His presence feels unreal, like a memory stepping out of the past and into the present. When Amy sees him, time seems to slow. Her body reacts before her mind can catch up. There is no instant embrace, no tears spilling right away. Instead, there is stillness. Her breath catches. Her eyes search his face, not to confirm who he is, but to make sure this moment won't disappear if she looks away. This is not joy yet. This is disbelief wrapped in fear. Amy has lived for years believing she would never see him again. She built her life around that truth. She learned how to wake up without him, how to be strong without leaning on his shoulder, how to carry love and loss at the same time. Seeing Ty again doesn't erase those years, it collides with them. Ty doesn't speak right away either. He watches her, aware of the pain his absence caused. Aware that his return doesn't fix what was broken, his face carries regret, hope, and guilt all at once. He knows that being alive isn't enough. Standing there isn't enough. He has returned to a life that learned how to go on without him. The space between them says more than words ever could. Everything they lost lives in that silence. Amy's strength begins to crack. Not because she is weak, but because she no longer has to be strong in this moment. The walls she built for survival tremble under the weight of everything she buried. Love resurfaces, so does anger and fear, and the question she is too afraid to ask out loud. What if this hurts all over again? This reunion doesn't feel like a happy ending. It feels like standing at the edge of something unknown. Because seeing Ty again isn't the end of the pain. It's the beginning of a choice. A choice to remember, a choice to feel, a choice to risk hope after learning how to survive without it. And as the moment settles in, one truth becomes clear. Ty's return doesn't bring answers. It brings emotions that were never finished. The past has stepped into the present, and Heartland will never be the same again. Lindy doesn't understand the weight of the moment the way the adults do. She hasn't lived through years of grief or learned how to hide pain behind strength. What she carries instead is curiosity and a quiet feeling that something important has always been missing. She knows her father through stories, through pictures that never move, through the way her mother sometimes goes quiet when his name is mentioned. Ty kneels in front of her slowly, unsure of where he belongs in this moment. He is meeting a child who grew up without him, a daughter who knows his face but not his voice. The years he missed sit heavy in his chest. Every birthday, every first step, every moment he was supposed to be there. All of it lives in the space between them. Lindy studies him carefully, not with fear, not with judgment, just quiet focus. She doesn't ask big questions or demand answers she wouldn't understand anyway. Instead, she listens to something deeper than words. There is hesitation, a pause where neither of them moves, and then something shifts. Lindy doesn't remember Ty, but she feels him. She steps closer, drawn by instinct rather than memory. There is recognition without explanation, connection without history. It isn't loud or emotional, it's simple, honest, real. The kind of moment that doesn't need to be understood to be true. Ty's voice breaks when he speaks to her, not because he's trying to explain himself, but because he doesn't know how to begin. How do you introduce yourself to your own child? How do you apologize for years that can never be given back? Lindy doesn't need answers, she needs presence. In her acceptance, something softens in Ty. The guilt doesn't disappear, but it loosens its grip. For the first time, he isn't returning to a memory or a place. He's stepping into a future he never thought he'd have. Amy watches from a distance, torn between fear and hope. Seeing Ty and Lindy together brings everything into focus. This isn't just about the past returning, it's about a bond forming in real time. Something fragile, unfinished, and full of possibility. Lindy reaching for Ty doesn't erase the years they lost, but it opens the door to years they still have. In this quiet moment, Heartland reminds us of something powerful. Love doesn't always arrive on time. Family doesn't always follow the path we expect. And sometimes the strongest connections are the ones that begin after the hardest losses. Ty isn't just meeting his daughter, he's being invited into her life, and that invitation changes everything. The ranch doesn't explode into celebration when Ty returns. It holds its breath. Everyone feels it, but everyone carries it differently. Ty's presence doesn't just bring relief, it brings memories, questions, and emotions that have been waiting quietly for years. Jack is the first to truly study the moment. He doesn't rush forward or demand explanations. He studies Ty the way only someone who has watched him grow can. In Jack's eyes, Ty isn't a stranger who came back too late. He's family who never truly left. Jack understands that life rarely follows clean lines. and love doesn't disappear just because time passes. His calm acceptance sets the tone. Belonging isn't something you lose forever. Lou isn't as quick to settle. Relief hits her first, sharp and real, but it's followed by fear she doesn't try to hide. She loves Amy too much to pretend this is simple. Lou saw her sister break in private moments no one else witnessed. She remembers how hard Amy fought just to keep moving. So Lou asks the questions others avoid, not out of anger, but protection. She needs to know if this return is real, and if it's safe for Amy's heart. Tim masks his reaction the only way he knows how, with jokes and sarcasm that land just a little too fast. On the surface, he acts like this is just another strange turn life has thrown at them. But beneath the humor is guilt he never shook. He watched his daughter suffer and couldn't fix it. He watched Lindy grow without her father. When he finally speaks to Ty alone, there's no yelling, just honesty, raw and unpolished. Tim admits how helpless it felt to stand by and do nothing. Ty's return doesn't erase that pain, but it eases it. Georgie moves differently through the moment. She's learned that not every emotion needs to be spoken out loud. Once impulsive, she now carries understanding shaped by her own losses. She remembers Ty as part of her family, not just Amy's past. Instead of pressing for answers, she offers space. Her quiet acceptance becomes a bridge between grief and healing, between what was lost and what might still be possible. Each reaction adds weight to the moment. No one responds the same way because love never looks the same from every angle. Together, they form something real, messy, cautious, and honest. Ty's return doesn't fix the family. It exposes how deeply they cared, and in that truth, Heartland feels more human than ever. Nothing is announced, nothing is promised. Healing begins in the quiet moments that don't ask for attention. The family gathers around the table, not to mark a miracle, but to share a meal. The room feels different. Careful, warm, unsure. Everyone is present, yet no one pretends the past has been erased. This isn't a celebration. It's a decision to sit together, even when the future feels unclear. Ty doesn't take the center of the room. He doesn't speak more than necessary. He listens, he watches. He allows himself to fit back into the rhythm instead of trying to control it. The chair he takes feels like it's been waiting. Not empty, not forgotten, just unwowed. Amy sits close enough to feel his presence, but not so close that it feels final. Her hand rests near his, not reaching yet. She is still learning how to stand between who she was and who she became without him. Loving Ty again doesn't feel like going backward. It feels like stepping carefully forward. Lindy laughs freely, unaware of how much this moment means. Her joy is simple, untouched by fear, and in her laughter, the heaviness softens. For the first time in a long while, the house sounds alive again. Jack watches everything without speaking. He knows better than anyone that families don't heal in one night. They heal in small choices. Shared meals, quiet forgiveness, staying when leaving would be easier. Ty understands this too. His return isn't complete just because he's home. Being present isn't enough. Staying will take patience, humility, and time. He doesn't ask for forgiveness. He earns trust through presence. This is what Heartland has always been about. Not grand moments, not perfect endings, but choosing each other again and again, even when it's hard. Ty's return isn't the end of the story. It's the moment the family decides whether love is worth risking one more time. And for the first time in years, hope doesn't feel dangerous.